This is the PJ&B Farm Partnership video for a New Holland cr9070. So we're going to walk through and explain a few of the components of the combine. There's our feeder house, feeder chain. The New Hollands do not have a stone trap, they have an electronic stone trap, so when a rock comes through, there's a soundboard, it'll hit against here, and then the stone trap door will open up on the bottom. There's a procedure that we need to do for reversing the feeder house, getting the stone out, and then raising the header up to close the stone trap door. Our hydraulic hookup for the header, electrical connections, your locking mechanism for locking the header, PTO, chain, feeder chain adjustment is here. There's indicator plates for how tight to do it. We always check the duals for cracks, making sure that all the studs are on the wheels. Over here is our unloading chain. It has the same indicator plate up there for tension of the chain. Our cleaning fan down below. Access to the rotors. So the New Holland combine has a twin rotor. So there's two rotors side by side. Concave access, and access to the rotor is here by opening that handle and that handle, and then this panel will pop off. There's another access panel back here. We've got access to the batteries over here. On the New Holland combines, on these models in particular, there's no battery disconnect. This is your dirty grain return elevator, so it'll take the white caps or unthrashed grain, put it through here and go back to the top. Sometimes when it is overloaded, it can block, and so your left side return or your right side return, you will need to open up. There's a panel underneath here with a pin right here. Those can be removed, so I'm open to unplug your return elevator. That's your whole PTO box that drives all your threshing mechanism. So we always check our belts for any cracks and whatnot, all through up there. Look for any hydraulic leaks. Here's your chopper drive. So it's a belt driven chopper back here. We have our sieves upper and lower with electric actuators back there, our spin spreader. If you need to ever lower this spin spreader down to get inside, we just lift up slightly and then pull, and then that'll drop down so that we can go inside and look at things. Your chopper, just bring the camera over here and you can see inside your chopper. So we've got all of our chopper blades inside there and some stationary blades. Sometimes rocks going through will damage the blades, and then we'll need to replace it so that it stays in balance. To get up to the engine area, just pull up this handle. Your ladder goes down. We'll go up to the top. So up in the engine area, we've got our hydraulic reservoir tank. We've got our PTO oil, which has a sight glass gauge on the side of the PTO. Fuel filter, engine oil level, or the dipstick for the engine oil. We can pull up here, have a look at our coolant reservoir. We need to add any engine oil, add through the top there. Down over there is our cleaning fan it's the cooling fan for the radiator and cooling system. over here is the fuel tank for diesel fuel for the combine. Access to the air filter is inside here. Just pop the latches off. When cleaning the filter, you only do the outside filter, not the inner filter. It can be damaged and cause damage to the engine. Over here, sometimes you need to clean out your radiator. There's a little latch right here that we can open up and look inside, make sure all your radiators are clean. We'll go back down and look at the other side of the combine. So on the right side of the combine, we have another return elevator that has your unthrashed grain. Same thing, if it plugs up, there's a hatch down at the bottom that we can pull the pin, which is, there's one pin here and one pin up there. Those can be removed to relieve the pressure of the elevator. We've got our beater shaft and our main threshing clutch. So this lever up here is to switch your rotor from low speed to high speed. So right now, with it being in the up position, is high speed. We can move it into neutral by putting it right there. That is neutral, and then down there is low. So sometimes it's tight, you just wiggle the pulley a bit, and then it goes up into the upward position. There's your bubble up chain drive for your bubble up auger. We've got your cleaning fan down here. Back over to where the threshing clutch is. If you ever plug your rotor, we have this big wrench for reversing. So sometimes your rotor will plug. So if you can put the wrench on that big shaft. If it's your beater that's plugged, you'll put the wrench on there, and you'll put this pipe in first, and you'll thread that in, and then this big wrench will go onto it, and then you can unplug the shaft by rotating like that. Over on the right side of the feeder house is your drive chain for all of your feeder chain inside. They will need to be adjusted throughout the season, as right now you can see it's quite loose. Down underneath we have this mechanism down here is your reverser. Sometimes it can be sticky, so that the reverser doesn't engage, we can grease that. Sometimes when you're unloading grain, especially if the grain is tough, you can break shear bolts. And just up on this unloading mechanism, this bolt here will sometimes break. And so typically we will store spare bolts in this position here, but it looks like they are all used. And so what you'll do, you'll shut off the engine, and then you'll just move the shaft around until it lines up, put a new bolt in, and then it should be good. Sometimes the concave shear bolt is going to break if you take in a heavy wad of straw or weeds. So to replace the concave shear bolt, you need to open up this access panel here. And by doing that, it's just all of these little tabs that we open up. And then we take the panel off. And so just come down, you can come stand over here. Here's the concave shear bolt for replacing. I think there is a position down over here to store extra ones, but they're not here right now. Another thing to look for is sometimes we can get excess straw built up on top of these rotor covers. We want to keep an eye on that because there are shafts turning like here and upward out the front. Sometimes if there's too much straw buildup, it can be a potential hazard for a fire. If also another thing down here, the oil filters, I'll take the camera. Engine oil filters are located down here for the beginning of the season oil change maintenance. Sometimes when we're combining canola, the canola seeds are very small and they can find a crack through anything. It's like water. So right below this area of the combine is our threshing belt. And if we don't have a proper seal around here, there's a chance that canola seed will come down there, or potentially from this panel. This panel can be removed for maintenance on the chain. So if the canola finds a way through down here, the canola seed will land onto the drive belt. And the canola seed is an oil, so when the oil from the canola seed is on the belt, it can cause slippage, and then you have higher risk of plugging your rotors because of the oily belt. Back on the engine, it seems quite reconnected. You need to keep an eye on these drive pulleys. So we want to make sure that the bearing's always good on there, and then also down on this one here. You'll check them each day, making sure that the bearings are good. If ever adding fluid into the PTO tube, right here for the PTO drive, it's very important that you do not overfill the PTO level and that you're looking at the sight gauge, that it's at the correct amount. If you overfill it, it will cause too much pressure and cause the PTO to overheat. Inside of the cab of the combine, we have controls for lights over here, horn, turn signal. Our four-way flashing hazard lights is here. Adjusting of the steering wheel column up and down with that. There's also the foot lever down and up for there. Combine controls. On the multifunctional handle, we have unload, auger out, auger in. Your header, raise up and down, tilt left, tilt right. Your reel down, reel up, reel left, reel right. This one here is return to cut. So that'll activate your auto header height. This one here increases your reel speed, decreases reel speed. If you have to do an emergency stop, everything shut off, unloading auger, header, you push that, it'll shut everything off. This will also open the electronic stone trap on the bottom of the feeder house. This button here is your engine RPM. Click it once and that'll go increase your engine to full RPM. If you only want it to be half RPM, you'll click it once, and then at any given RPM you can click down once and it'll stop at that RPM. This here is auto header height. Always have it in the forward position. This button is not to be worried about. Park brake, field, and road mode. Our gear selector, you always need to be in park and then select the gear that you're going to be in. Always be in gear 1 or 2 in around the yard or in the field. Most of the time when we're in the field, it'll be on gear 2. Here are all your combine adjustments: rotor speed, fan speed, concave clearance, upper sieve, lower sieve. Over here, we don't need to worry about those buttons. This is your auto reel speed, so that'll match your reel speed with your ground speed. This button that is worn out is your feeder reverser, so if ever your front end is jammed up with straw, you can put the reverser button on, and then you'll come over to this here and push the negative sign, and that'll remove the blockage in the front end. So you'll hold that blockage till it's removed. You can feed it forward slowly if you want to control the infeed. Push the plus, reverse, negative. And then when you're done, turn that back off. Our threshing clutch is this one, so push the button down and up turn it on, and then header clutch down and up, turn it on. To shut off, just bump them down like that. If you're ever having a rock come in, your feeder will say stone detected, and what you need to do is turn your header off. You can turn your header off, leave your threshing running. So you'll turn your header off, hit the reverse switch, it'll indicate feeder reverser engaged, and then we will hold this minus sign for 5 seconds minimum, and then raise the header all the way to the top, and then lower it back down, turn your reverse off, and then turn your header back on. Sometimes it's going to tell you that you'll need to relatch the stone trap, so sometimes we'll do the same process again. We'll put the reverser on, reverse it for 5 seconds. This red button will hold the hydraulic pins on the gate open, so sometimes I just always hold that red button, it'll open the pins. So I'll go like that, I'll hold that, and then raise the header all the way to the top, and then release the red button and that, and then it should lock the stone trap door. Over here is how we start the combine. We turn the key to the on position, usually wait for the display to power up, and then crank it over. We've got a radio up top here, headlights, beacon, windshield wiper and washer, our climate control, some mirror adjustments, and then our fuse panel is over here with all the fuses inside there, and then the master list of where and what they are. Sometimes your grain tank window's getting dirty and you want to clean it. You can open this up, and then it gives you the ability to clean the inside of this glass and that glass back there.